I'd like to welcome everyone. Good evening. I'm Dr. Keith Miles. I'm Superintendent of Schools. I'll serve as today's Master of Ceremonies. We're here tonight to celebrate our two newest Hall of Fame inductees. The late Paulette Joy Douglas, class of 1968, wife of Mr. Woody Fryman, wife of Mr. Woody Fryman, who's with us tonight with his two daughters, Hannah and Holly. Our son-in-law, Derek. Thank you all for being with us tonight. And our second inductee, Mr. Sherman Demby, joined by his guests, currently serves as master teacher, class of 1989. To give you all a little history, the Hall of Fame Awards originated in 2005, originally with 6 inductees per year. Due to space, we've since reduced the number to 2 or 3 per year. Since 2005, there's been 44 inductees, and tonight we will add 2 to take us to 46. Past inductees have included lawyers, judges, physicians, civic and community leaders, retired military, a world-renowned fashion designer who dressed former First Lady Nancy Reagan, Negro League baseball player, heavyweight boxing champion, just to name a few. So we also have 2 past inductees here as guests of Mr. Demby. He'll introduce them later. We'd like to acknowledge some individuals here tonight. First, our president of the Bridgeton Board of Education, Ms. Mary Peterson, vice president, Mr. Tyrone Williams, principal of the high school. He's actually at Rowan tonight. Our early college high school students are graduating along with our assistant superintendent, Dr. Merriweather. Would like to acknowledge our Hall of Fame selection committee. That would be Ms. Mary Peterson, Mr. Tyrone Williams, Mr. Carl Delente, our high school principal, Ms. Karen Barnett, and Mr. Arnaldo Santos. We're also joined by our Director of Human Resources, Mr. Maurice Tyndall, Deputy Freeholder Director, Darlene Barber, City Council President, Mr. Ed Bethia is with us tonight, Mr. Curtis Edwards, CEO and President of Complete Care, who sponsored tonight's dinner. We have Mr. James Boner and Mr. Alex Silva, the technology genius behind all tonight's event. My amazing team, led by Arletha, my executive assistant, Mrs. Lane. And later you will meet Chef D, Mr. Warren DeShields, who prepared a delicious meal for us. So to everyone that's here tonight, a warm welcome to you. There's so much history in the room tonight, and we appreciate you sharing in this momentous evening with us. At this time, if you all could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So at this time, I would like to invite Mrs. Mary Peterson, who will bring greetings and share with you our Hall of Fame selection criteria.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I'm so proud of the selection that we have tonight as being inducted. Congratulations to you and the family. I just want to say thank you, because this time last year, we couldn't be here together. So I'm just thankful that tonight we can be here and give honor to whom honor is due. So welcome. I hope we make you proud as much as you guys have made us proud. All right? Now, the selection criteria. The inductee must be a graduate of Bridgeton High School. The inductee is making or has made an outstanding contribution to the community through professional or community service. The number of posthumous inductees shall be limited to 1 year. Current members of the selection committee are ineligible. So the two that we have tonight have met all of the criteria. And congratulations once again.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson. Next, we will have our, actually a visual and performance arts performance by the Bridgeton High School Visual and Performing Arts Department.
When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting for one. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge our union with purpose, to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man. And so we lift our gaze not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious. Not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be, a country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-rimmed hills of the west. We will rise from the wind-swept northeast, where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover in every known nook of our nation, in every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade of flame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind.
All right, that was the Bridgeton High School Fine Arts Department. Our very talented dance students. At this time, we will introduce our distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame honorees. The late Paulette Douglas graduated from Bridgeton High School in 1968. She went on to become an award-winning producer and director. She won 5 Emmy Awards, and her works earned 16 nominations and 8 wins. Paulette was hailed the first female director of the local news in Philadelphia and New York. She went on to become executive producer of Sports Illustrated TV. This just touches on many contributions and accomplishments of Paulette. We will now have remarks from Ms. Hannah Fryman, Paulette's daughter, followed by Ms. Linda Carmen, one of the individuals who nominated Paulette.
We're actually going to reverse the
We'll
order.
reverse the order. Okay, come on up, Linda.
I'm going first. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to congratulate Sherman and Paulette on their induction this evening. On behalf of the Bridgeton High School class of 1968 and the many friends of Paulette Joy Douglas Fryman, I want to thank the Board of Education and the Distinguished Wall of Fame Selection Committee for honoring Paulette. I first met Paulette in 6th grade through the Safety Patrol program. She was at Quarter Mile Lane and I was at Vine Street. And then we were teammates on the Georgetown Swim Club swim team. This association led to a long and cherished friendship. I would like to read a letter to you from our high school class president, Russ Semple, and then a tribute written by her dear friend, Martha Roberts Colon, both of whom were unable to be here this evening. The Bridgeton High School graduating class of 1968, with pride and gratitude, thank the selection committee of the BHS Distinguished Wall of Fame for the appointment of our much admired and respected Paulette. Paulette's dedication as the overseer of our class treasury proved to be a valuable asset to the success of all our class endeavors. The high academic standards which she demanded of herself made her a classmate to be followed and emulated. Paulette's constant attention to detail made her a valuable class officer and class representative in every sense of the word. Her love for our high school and the spirit to express it was evident in Paulette's varsity cheerleading duties, which she demonstrated with competitiveness and never-ending energy. I'm sure this contributed to many victories for our BHS teams. I know there are pages filled with Paulette's justly deserved achievements. I knew this lovely lady as a dear friend and classmate. My heart is filled with undying memories and lifelong pride. A true Bridgeton High School woman of distinction, Paulette's memory should forever grace the halls of BHS. Any BHS graduate would have been honored with her association. Please do not believe that my lack of attendance today in any way diminishes my admiration and love for Paulette. Paulette's high school and professional accomplishments should forever remain a directional beacon of greatness. With much respect and affection, a true friend, Russ Semple,
1968 BHS class president. A tribute to Paulette Joy Douglas by her dear friend, Martha Roberts Colin. Thank you for the opportunity to honor our dear friend Paulette Joy Douglas, television producer and director, documentary film producer, wife, mother, friend, classmate, humanitarian, as the 2020 posthumous inductee into the Bridgeton High School Distinguished Wall of Fame. It is very fitting that the Bridgeton Board of Education and Selection Committee has honored Paulette by receiving this Lifetime Achievement Award. Her life journey as a leader, artist, humanitarian, and social activist, which was studded with many outstanding professional accomplishments, had its true beginnings in the Bridgeton public school system. The fiery force that was Paulette Joy Douglas came into the world on March 18, 1950. She was born to Helen and Hal Douglas in Philadelphia and raised in Bridgeton, New Jersey. She had beautiful, bright red hair and the personality to go along with it. She was little over 5'2", but stood head and shoulders above all of us. She attended Bridgeton Public Schools from grade school through high school and graduated in 1968. She was passionate about whatever she did and excelled at anything she tackled. She was humble, self-effacing, kind, generous, could never rest on her accomplishments. As early as 6th grade at Quarter Mile Lane School, she was selected to be the captain of the safety patrol, an honor reserved for the most mature and responsible students. At the end of 6th grade, Paulette was awarded the coveted gold badge in recognition of her performance as a safety patrol team leader and role model. In high school, she tackled extracurricular activities with the same passion as her academics. She was brilliant, athletic, and creative, and always humble. Her drive was intense. Not only was she an honor student throughout high school, she was a class officer, a varsity cheerleader, served on student council, and was a member of just about every club and extracurricular activity that she could join, from math club to French club. Paulette went on to attend Temple University, where the social activist in her came alive. While in college, she became involved in the major social movements of the time: women's liberation, civil rights, the hippie movement, and social change. She marched on Washington, burned her bra and was proud of it, and was a vocal advocate of civil rights and social equality. Upon graduating from Temple University, she embarked on an illustrious career in television, starting out at the bottom as a makeup artist for the Mike Douglas Show. She was one of the first women to be in the union and on the production crew of a TV station that was home to a national television talk show. Here she learned to be a film editor, a stage manager, a property master, and a set builder. All of this from those who had been in television since the beginning. She quickly shifted into producing and directing and became a pioneer in a male-dominated field as one of the first female directors in sports and news. As a producer for ABC Olympic Profiles for the Summer and Winter Games, Paulette was awarded her first Emmy. In 1989, Paulette was selected by the American Film Institute for the AFI's Directing Workshop for Women, for which she made her narrative directorial debut with a feature production, The Couch, which featured the then up-and-coming Julia Louis-Dreyfus. The Couch screened at the LA Film Festival and on TV's A&E. In 1991, she produced 2 one-hour documentaries for primetime HBO entitled Play by Play, A History of Sports Television, for which she received 2 more Emmy Awards. The following year, she directed another Emmy Award winning primetime HBO documentary, In This Corner, Boxing's Legendary Heavyweights. Her experience and interest in sports television led to her Sports Illustrated TV, where she was Vice President of Program Development and Executive Producer. At Sports Illustrated TV, she produced and directed Sports Illustrated for Kids Sports Quiz TV show, which aired on HBO. During her tenure at Sports Illustrated TV during the 90s, she produced and directed numerous primetime specials for Sports Illustrated, as well as the Sports Illustrated for Kids show, which consisted of 18 weekly half-hour shows for CBS. Paulette's interest in documenting the human struggle was a theme that ran through all of her creative productions. A prime example of this is the award-winning for TV documentary production, Vietnam, Long Time Coming. The documentary that follows the world, TEAM, The Exceptional Athlete Matters, on a 16-day, 1,100-mile bicycle expedition from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City. The event drew an array of veterans for the U.S. and Vietnam, and as well, celebrity riders like Greg LeMond and Senator John Kerry. Past enemies ride as one team, in peace, across a landscape that once they killed on to stay alive. As executive producer, she was awarded the Audience Favorite Award at the Aspen Film Festival, the 1998 DGA Best Documentary Award, and the 1998 Sports Emmy Award for Outstanding Program Achievement. Paulette's drive was never-ending. She went on to do freelance documentary productions as president of Red Paul Productions. In 2007, Red Paul produced a 90-minute documentary entitled The Peglegs of Stuyvesant High. The film is a wonderful story of a football team at New York's Stuyvesant High, one of the most competitive public high schools in the country, that had a football team with no fans and never won a game. Her final film was The Team Makes a Play. In Paulette's own words, I quote, "It was an inside look into the difficult process of creating an artistic production and illuminates the travails of struggling artists, a topic about which she was not only passionate, but intimately familiar," unquote. The production is now used in many university theater programs to show the unique collaboration process of a team, and also to examine some of the very difficult decisions artists must make in the pursuit of their art. I believe this was a form of an autobiography of Paulette Douglas. More than any of her awards, Paulette treasured her marriage to the love of her life, Woody Fryman, and the two beautiful and brilliant daughters that they produced, Hannah and Hallie, sorry. Paulette was beautiful on the inside and out, and she is truly missed by many. I believe it is fitting that Paulette's induction into the Distinguished Wall of Fame will provide inspiration to BHS students both present and future, as she believed it important to never stop pursuing your dreams and passions, even if you're from Bridgeton.
Much like my mom, I'm quite short, so you might not see me over the stand. Well, since Linda did such a fabulous job of talking about all my mom's fabulous accomplishments, I'll keep my remarks quite brief. But thank you all so much for being here, and thank you so much to the Board of Education, to Dr. Keith Miles, to Arletha for all of your help, and to the selection committee, of course, for honoring my mother today and all of her accomplishments. My mom used the visual medium of film and television to tell the stories about what makes us human and what binds us as humanity. From Olympic stars and star athletes to disabled veterans to New York City artists. She found a way to portray the things that connect us, the things that allow us to feel empathy for each other and tell the story of humanity as a whole. And the stories that she told and the memories that she made with everyone who was lucky enough to know her continue to inspire people today. And this recognition that she's receiving really commemorates that. So thank you all so very much. This means a lot to our family.
Thank you. Very well deserved. I'm inspired just by hearing you all's words. So our next inductee, represent. Okay. Okay, if Mr. Fryman and family could come up, we'd like to present the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame in recognition of her outstanding commitment to the community through professional and community service. Date of induction, May 13th, 2021.
Martha. Don't move. I want to take a picture. Dr. Moss, if I can have you move a little away from the. Here we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Take one more. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, sir. Our next inductee, Mr. Sherman Demby. Mr. Demby graduated from Bridgeton High School in 1989, has been a part of the Bridgeton community most of his life. Sherman went on to earn an associate's degree from Cumberland County College and a bachelor's degree in sociology and education from Glassboro State College, now Rowan College. Sherman has been teaching in Bridgeton Public Schools for over 22 years and has taught all subjects. He currently serves as one of our district master teachers, mentoring and supporting other staff members. Sherman received the District Teacher of the Year Award in 2002, as well as other awards and accolades for excellence in education. He was also featured on the cover of the New Jersey Educators Association Review magazine. We'd like to welcome to the podium Mr. Sherman Demby, who will bring remarks and introduce his guest.
Good evening. This is truly an honor. First, giving honor unto God, because without him, none of this is possible. Secondly, my late father. Without him, this would not be possible, nor my mother. And prayerfully, they're watching. So instead, for my mother, my cousin Keisha is here representing my Aunt Linda, who was like a second mother to me. So I'm thankful for them. Thank you to the committee that thought it not robbery to select me. Thank you for the Board of Education for the support that I received from you for so many years. This whole journey has been a culmination of many, many individuals. I would be a liar if I said I got here on my own or I did this by myself. None of it have I done on my own nor by myself. The individuals that I selected to be in the room with me tonight were all very instrumental. Hence, that's why you are here. I cannot think of a better way to thank you than to thank you publicly and let it be on record that you had everything to do with me getting to where I am today. There's a phrase that I use, and I use it often, and if all of you were to take a moment to reflect about yourself, you are, and I am, the sum total of everything we have ever been through, good, bad, or indifferent. And that sum total is what makes us to who we are. Scripture says, all things work together for good for them that love the Lord and who are called according to his purpose. All things work your good situations, your bad situations, everything works together for good. It's just like making a cake. You won't just take one item and call it a cake. You take all those things and you put them together, and when you mix them together and you add a little bit of heat, you get this wonderful thing that we call the cake, and it tastes great. But it took all of those things to work together to get that good thing that we call cake. I want to say thank you to the lady who started this all. And I've said it to her before, and she knows it. She is the reason I became a teacher in the first place. And her name is Miss Annie Wright. I shared her story once at her retirement, and I'll give you a snippet of it now. When we moved to Bridgeton back in 1980, I was going to a school in Buckshootum. I'm an Amity Heights kid. I'm project raised and proud of it. Went to school, and I was doing something that I probably had no business doing, and this teacher stops me and checks me. "You don't talk to me that way. Who are you? You don't say anything to me." And Miss Annie, being the teacher that she was, Miss Annie did not care. She was going to reach you. And she gave me some words, and I wound up having detention, but little did I know that Miss Annie knew my mom. But Miss Annie knew everybody's mom. So I guess she talked to my mom, and end of the day, Miss Annie and I had this appointment after school. We were supposed to fight. Had my detention, and I got done the detention, and I went actually looking in classrooms to see if she was still there. And she wasn't there. So I break out the door, and I go to walk down the path to go home to Amity Heights. And as I'm going down the path, Miss Annie steps out from behind a tree. And she said, "You still want to fight?" Never have I been that scared before. And I've seen a whole lot of stuff and done a lot of things. But I was scared out of my mind. And the thing that she did, she checked me, but then she pulled me in very, very close. She goes down on one knee. She grabbed me and she said, "You don't have to do bad things, or you don't have to be bad." She said, "I love you and God loves you." And she said, "You can do things very differently." And Miss Annie, whether you know it or not, the compassion that you showed to me that day is what made me want to teach. Because if you can make me feel like you made me feel that day, and I said, "Lord, give me the gift that she has, because she makes people feel like something," and that's what I wanted. So thank you for what you gave me. As the time went on, I made it to the high school, and high school was fun, lots of fun. And I have to say, the teachers back then, they had to do what they did for love of education, because the money was not what it is now. So I had this teacher, and he caught me doing something one day, and he checked me on it. And his name is Mr. Rainier. And when he checked it, he said, "That's a stupid thing you're doing." He said, "You some punk, what are you doing? You're gonna mess yourself up?" And Mr. Rainier, I have to tell you this, and I don't know if I've ever said this to you, but the respect that I had for you and the regard in which I held you made me want to please you. So thank you for being that teacher that asked us how our weekend was, that asked us how things were going, that asked us, is there something I can do to help you get where you want to go? I've never forgotten that. And I will never forget you and what you've done for me. Thank you. As I said, I did not get here on my own, and there are several others that I could probably go on and name, but I'm going to stick with the ones that are here. And when I started teaching, I have been blessed to come back to Bridgeton, and I believe that God does give us our gifts. I got the gift of teaching, and God gave me the gift to serve. I thank God for a Bridgeton that I was able to serve in. I thank God for the school that He placed me in, because for me it was coming back home. At Cherry Street School, I laughed jokingly with a student the other day, and he said, "Mr. Denby, you've been here most of your life, right?" And I said, "Yes." And I'll tell you the why. I started at that school as a custodian at 15 years old. And then I came back in in the 90s, late 90s, and I've been there since. So it's been a beautiful thing to be there for that time. But my start in Cherry Street was not a great one. And there's a young lady in the back of the room. When I started teaching my first day, I went in and set up my classroom. Somebody took all of my supplies. I had nothing to start with. And there are two ladies, but one of them is here, one has passed on. And it's Miss Althea Blunt. And she used to work with me when I was a custodian. Denby, come over here, move that, do this. But she was a sweetheart because she and the late Eugenia Johnson gave me everything I needed to set up my classroom so I could go ahead and start teaching. So, Ms. Blunt, thank you for everything that you have poured in. I don't know how long I'm going to be in Bridgeton or be at Cherry Street. I've been blessed with lots of wonderful opportunities, and it's just been great to go out and learn things and then bring them back to our kids, because our kids do not always get to travel. They do not always get to go and see some finer things. So every nugget that I've ever picked up elsewhere, I've always brought it back home. I have been benefited with given the privilege of working at NASA, going to NASA and learning from astrophysicists there. And as a science teacher, I brought that knowledge back into the classroom. I've also spent several summers working for the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. And when I went there and I learned the science, I brought the science right back to Cherry Street School. So everything that I have done, it's been a blessing, but none of it could I have done on my own or without God blessing it first. So for the individuals that are here in the room, and I didn't forget you, Miss Barnett, because I've spent 20 years working with her in summer programs, and a lot of people say, wait, well, when do you have off? I don't have off. When teachers have off in the summertime, I'm working summer program with Miss Barnett, but we've done programming for the last 20 years, and we've done it all year long. So Miss Barnett, you have been able to pour into this vessel as well, and for all the times that you've poured in, for all the conversations that you've listened to, for all the little chats that we had, and sometimes the ones you even had to study my head and get me to hit the reset button. Thank you for what you've poured in. There's one more person here, and we've been friends. I was trying to do the math. I think it's 30 years, because we met in 91. So it is 30 years, yeah. And her name is Terry Blunt. And there's been lots of jokes about me and Terry Blunt, but she's been a wonderful person. She's always been right there to that side of me, always that friend. And we always joked about the friendship, but it's been a very, very long friendship, a very lasting friendship, and I have been blessed just by knowing you. To all of you in the room tonight, and for everybody who has poured into, or everyone who has poured into, you have poured into me, and that has in turn allowed me to pour out to others. So thank you for blessing me by pouring in, and I hope you'll continue to bless me by pouring in and helping me to pour out to others. Thank you to the committee. Thank you for this honor. God bless you all.
So I echo Mr. Denby. We salute Ms. Wright, Ms. Blunt, all of our educators, Ms. Barnett, we salute you. Educator, class of 1989, in recognition of his outstanding commitment to the community through professional and/or community service, date of induction, May 13, 2021.
Danny, that one will stay put. Thank you. Sorry.
Silly. Sorry. Really charge it to my head, not my heart. to the family of Miss Paulette Joy Douglas. Thank you for being here, and I applaud you on her accomplishments as well. Thank you.
And we salute you as well, Mr. Rainier. As we bring this portion of the event to a close, I would like to welcome Deputy Director Ms. Darlene Barber from the Board of Chosen Freeholders, who will present 2 citations.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the family of Paulette Douglas. As a fellow classman of 1968, a person who wanted to say all those things that you just said. And our love for her is certainly well beyond, and we're so pleased. But I would be remiss if I did not call forward our county surrogate right now, who was a teacher. I want him to come up with me. And our surrogate, who for years taught children and now soothes the souls of people who have lost people and helps with adoptions, and is still very, very busy, and is one of your past honorees. So I would like you to recognize our surrogate Doug Rainier. Before I like I said, Paulette has done so many things and has been so well loved by all of us in Cumberland County. And before I say on behalf of our county commissioners, I just want to say that Sherman, I found an article by Jack Hummel that was written in 2011, and he called you Sherman Denby, savior of kids. Savior of kids. And it says, it's as simple as that. Sherman Denby saves kids. You can call him a teacher, but that's like calling a diamond glass. He's a mentor, yes, but a mentor with the energy and passion that makes people great. Vince Lombardi comes to mind. To your world, he's Sherman Denby, who wears a suit and tie and reports to Cherry Street School every morning. To another world, he's Pops, and a lifeline between making it and losing it. Sherman Denby works his magic at Cherry Street School during the day, and beyond the rest of the time, he went to Cherry Street School. He grew up in Hammondy Heights. I know that place. I grew up on Southeast Avenue. I saw people beaten with baseball bats in the parking lot. I saw people pulled from cars and all their money taken. I saw people beaten with 2x4s. One time on a basketball court, the ball rolled over in the weeds and I saw a leg sticking out, dead. He graduated BHS in 1989. He went away to college and then he came back. Why? I had teachers here who gave a darn about me, he said. Annie Wright, Doug Rainier, Bob Hutchins, Miss Gershon, Mr. Makota, Vice Principal Diaplino. Please tell me I said that wrong. He wanted to make sure that the kids in that neighborhood got the education that they deserved to get. And he still goes down to Amity Heights and walks around. They put the big black fence around it. It looks like a fortress. It has a black gate with points out the top of it. When we were there, it had posts with yellow strings across it. The drug culture swept through there in 1984. Whoa, how many remember that? How many of us remember the drug culture sweep through there in 1984? Is that in the police records? The newspapers of the day? That's when the beatings started in the parking lot. That's when people from the other side of town started shopping at Animal Heights. Just a pickup, of course. It was still a safe place to play even though things happened. We had good kids. We have role models, but we are looking for more. The cell phone vibrates again, a student looking for a ride to Washington for his America Has Talent. Pops would take him, but he has a prior commitment. It will be instead a bus or a train ride. Sherman Denby has an unbelievable network. One phone call, one, and he has what he needs. If they know it's to help a kid, it's done. He doesn't put it on blast. I do it because of what somebody did for me. Bob Spence is another person who looked out for me. He didn't have to. He did some things for me, and I will never forget that. Because he did that, I make sure I do it for everybody else. The same with Miss Annie Wright. Every day she taught was a thank you day at Cherry Street School, and I love her for that. She made sure I was doing the right thing. She's my shining star. Mr. Rainier is my shining star. And Miss Bentley. When I was in the 7th grade and we were selling candy and my candy got eaten up, I couldn't pay for it. And she paid for it. She didn't have to do that. My way of thanking her is to make sure I show her the way for somebody else. If a kid needs a coat, you buy the coat and shut up. Does everybody in Cherry Street School have a coat? No, but they will have. He works with a group of teachers now that when something is going on with a family and we say something has to be done, it's done. If a kid comes to school and her hair is messed up and we have a teacher who is a hairdresser, she takes care of it. We have teachers who play parents because they care. Some don't leave school until 8 p.m., they live it. I don't work on a contract. The contract says I'm done at 3:15. I don't worry about a contract. God's batting average is pretty good. It's a total network no one could afford to pay. Are we making it? Are we gaining ground? It's almost like a tug of war, he said. He admits, you hope they make the right choices. You gain ground and then somebody gets shot. When something happens, you wonder, what could you have done and what would you have done more? But you go on from there. It's already been done. Where do we go from there? I just want to skip a couple of things and go right down to here where it says, but my students pull me through it when your father was sick. When Dad went to the hospital, the nurse said to me, Mr. Denby, is that your dad? You took care of my son. Don't worry about a thing. You go ahead, I'll call you. When Dad went to the hospital second time, that nurse, I was currently teaching her son. She said, you go ahead. I'll call you if anything happens. When Dad finally went to a nursing home, one of my former students told me, don't worry, Mr. Denby, I'll take care of him. Sherman Denby knows everyone. His energy is boundless. He turns away from the naysayers. The person who says can't be done is often interrupting people who are doing it. One piece at a time. We'll get the puzzle put together. On kids reading below level, you have to take the elevator down to their level. You got to go to the bottom floor. Meaning, if they read at a 3rd grade level, you give them a 3rd grade book, even if they're in high school. You don't push them out. POPS is tied into Karen Barnett's Municipal Alliance Youth-to-Youth program, which is sponsored by the Governor's Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse. Without that council, the program wouldn't happen. It works wonderfully. His classroom is open always. Kids from the high school will come in and help with homework or just sit down and talk. We need more volunteers. We need more. I just want to say, we need more like you, Mr. Denby. And I couldn't pass saying thank you. Thank you for everything that you've done for the children in Cumberland County. Thank you to you. Thank you to Paulette and her family. I just want to say it's so important to me to say that to you because you give hope to children that have dreams. She does. She gave hope to children that have dreams that want to do things just like she did. So we have 2 great people to honor tonight, and again, get up here, Surrogate, so you can help me hand out these awards. Come up here, Surrogate. I want to get a picture with, I want to get the surrogate up here to get a picture with Mr. Tempe. So if I could call forward Sherman, and I could get the solicitor up here.
Solicitor?
I'm sorry, the surrogate up here.
Taking a job, solicitor makes much more than I do.
The solicitor does make a lot more money. For a man who mentored me through politics, I say, I agree with you, and I just want to say congratulations on behalf of the county commissioners and especially our director, Joe Durella. I say thank you for everything that you've done. Good luck, God bless you, and go forward.
Thank you.
Tell us
Mr. Rainier? Commissioner Barber, thank you. Wonderful. One more. And wonderful, thank you.
Thank you. Glad you did that quick. I can only hold this belly.
Can you stay here? I have to keep him up here because he graduated the year before us in 1967 and spent all the time with us watching Paulette bounce down from the stadium down to the sweet shop after a big win of a football game in front of our football team with those pom-poms. So we, on behalf of us who remember that generation and also our county commissioners and our director, Joe Durella, I want to say thank you and God bless you. And we're so sorry for your loss. So. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thank you. On a personal note, I would like to thank the Richmond Board of Education for everything that they did. Sadly, this year, COVID took my sister-in-law, who worked in the Richmond Board of Education office for many, many years. And I want to thank the district for everything they did for my brother and his family. And God bless you for everything. Thank you.
So this concludes this phase of our ceremony. We have taken our Hall of Fame to the next level with tonight's two inductees. You all may stick around for some pictures. In about 5 minutes, we will unveil the showcase in the lobby. So please be there for that. Thank you, everyone.